Hey guys, welcome back to another Macro 2 video. This video has been made as a general summary of the semester's content. In addition to this video, I would recommend going over your lectures and tutorials because this video is not exactly an in-depth study guide. Anyway, let's get straight into it. The first model in this course is the Cobb-Douglas production function. Now, there are three important properties in this model. Number one, constant income shares. This is represented by the power of the variables, i.e. a third of income goes to capital and 2/3 goes to labor. Number two, constant returns to scale, meaning that increasing all of the inputs, i.e. both K and L, will result in a proportional increase in output. An easy way to check this is to double the K and the L inputs and check that the output Y has also been doubled. Number three, decreasing returns to scale in K and L, meaning if you only increase K or you only increase L, it will result in a smaller proportional increase in output. The second model is the solow-swan model. Now this model is essentially the Cobb-Douglas production function, but with a time subscript. In this model, there are two key economic concepts to focus on. First is the understanding of what is a steady state. So a steady state is when all endogenous variables are constant. Within the context of this model, it refers to when the change in capital is represented in the second formula is equal to 0. The second economic concept is the principle of transition dynamics. So this means that at any point, an economy will move towards its respective steady state. A good way of thinking about this is that an economy with excessive capital will decrease their level of capital over time, i.e. the change in K subscript T plus 1 will be negative until the economy reaches its steady state. Then, at this point, K subscript T plus 1 will equal 0, matching our initial steady state definition. The rate that an economy grows or shrinks will depend on how far away they are from the steady state. The further away they are, the faster they will grow. The third model is the Rover model, a model which focuses on understanding the impact of growth and ideas. From this point onwards, the models may require a decent amount of mathematical computations not covered in this video. So I would definitely recommend going over your lecture notes because the process will be quite similar for the exam. One important key concept to remember is the idea of the balanced growth path. It is similar to the steady state, but is not the same thing. The balanced growth path is when the growth rate of all endogenous variables is constant. For this particular model, the balanced growth path is when the growth of A, the ideas component, is constant and therefore allows for perpetual growth within this economy. Now the next topics covered is the unemployment and inflation topic. There are three key models to remember, including the labour market, bathtub model of unemployment, and the quantity theory of money. Learn these models briefly. However, it is unlikely that the questions on this topic will involve a high level of maths, and it is more important that you cover the qualitative content in relation to this topic. Some important definitions to definitely remember will be the types of unemployment, the definition of the natural rate of unemployment and how to calculate it, and the causes of structural unemployment. So following on from this, the next key model involves the goods and monies market, which then forms the basis for the ISLM model. So this model is quite complicated and is definitely important to know what all the variables are. In particular, the LO variable represents the responsiveness of money to income, and the L1 variable represents the responsiveness of money to the nominal interest rate. Other key takeaways from this topic include the Phillips curve, which is the inverse relationship between inflation and the output gap, and Oken's law, the relationship between unemployment and the output gap. Lastly, it's also important to be able to calculate what happens when you substitute the second equation into the first one. If you have done it correctly, then you should have a change in the multiplier value equal to 1 over 1 minus C1 plus I1 LO over L1. And if you have done that correctly, then you should be able to understand what is the crowding out effect, which is limited to this value in particular here. So following on from this model, it is the ADAS model. For this model, there are four diagrams that you need to remember how to graph. The labor market in the top left, the production market in the bottom left, ISLM in the top right, and the new ADAS curve in the bottom right. Now in the long term, the aggregate supply is fixed, which we can see as the vertical line in the ADAS curve, labeled LRAS. In this situation, monetary and financial policy have no impact on the output and unemployment. In the short term, however, there are things called nominal frictions, basically meaning that variables do not instantly change when there is a shock. Within this course, we learn about two key nominal frictions, sticky prices and sticky wages. The sticky prices is represented by a flat horizontal AS curve, while the sticky wages is represented by an upwards sloping AS curve as represented in this picture here. By the way, the underlying principle for the upward sloping line is that wages are much harder to decrease compared to increasing wages. Although this graph looks difficult, what you need to remember is that any change in one of the graphs needs to be mirrored across all of them equally. So the last model is the IS-MP-AS model. So it's really an accumulation of the last two models together, while also taking into consideration the monetary policy, or the MP component. Some things to note in this model include the role of expectations in price setting, and the definitions of these expectations are set out in this slide. Adaptive expectations essentially is the existence of sticky inflation, where the inflation in the previous period influences the current period. And rational expectations is basically agents are able to predict the future with utmost certainty, and then therefore monetary policy has no effect on an economy. That's the end of the video. I'm sorry that I couldn't cover 100% of the content required for the exam, but I believe that by watching this video, you'll be able to understand the basics of macroeconomics, and it'll go a huge distance for when you do start preparing for finals. On a final note, good luck and all the best for the finals.